And even with treatment, I'll be frank, only 1% have survived 5 years. Nonetheless, I've already made some calls and we've got world-class treatments that can hopefully improve those odds. I'll do everything in my power to help you get through this. Levi's mind raced as he absorbed the doctor's words. He'd always been known to those in his line of work as a fixer. He took care of sensitive issues when the mob bosses needed someone with a deft hand and not just pure muscle. He also fixed issues that the cops couldn't or wouldn't fix. For this, he had no fixies. However, he knew there were a few things he needed to take care of right away. He stood and shook the doctor's hand. "Dr. Cohen, I know it must be hard to deliver this kind of news. Thank you for being honest with me. I'll be back in a couple of weeks after I've set my affairs in order, and we'll talk." "But, Mr. Yoder, you really should start treatments right away. I called Sloan Kettering, and I've gotten you into one of their treatment programs." Levi waved dismissively and turned toward the exit. "I appreciate it, but I'll be back." As Levi opened the door and left the doctor's private office, all he could think of was Mary. When Levi walked into the bedroom, Mary, already in her nightclothes, shot him a brilliant smile while he placed a record on the turntable. "I just found this in an old record shop. You have to hear it." The sound of Nat King Cole, one of Mary's favorites, came over the speakers. "Love me as though there were no tomorrow." The haunting lyrics of the ballad brought a lump into his throat. Mary danced toward him with a dreamy smile on her face, enraptured by the music. Just as her gaze met his, she froze mid-step. Her smile faltered, and lines of worry formed on her forehead. Levi had never been able to hide his feelings from her. He stepped closer, cupped his wife's face in his hands, and stared into her beautiful dark brown eyes. Her face was framed by a thick mass of jet-black hair, and she looked as beautiful as the day he'd met her. As he explained what the doctor had told him, his mind flashed back to when he'd first laid eyes on her. It was only 5 years ago when she'd arrived in America as Mariam Nassar, a 22-year-old refugee from Iran. She spoke passable English and had responded to one of Levi's ads for a personal secretary. The moment he first saw her, it was like he'd been struck by lightning. His skin had tingled, and he'd barely managed to catch his breath. They were married 9 months later. His chest tightened as a storm of emotions flashed across her face. Disbelief, hurt, anger. Her dark eyes glistened with tears, and her chin quivered as she exclaimed in her strong Persian accent, But you prom—" She pulled in a deep, shuddering breath, and Levi wrapped her in his arms. "Honey, I know." He pressed her to his chest and rubbed her back as she sobbed. Mary was the only person in her family who'd chosen exile after the Iranian Revolution. None of her family had any deep religious convictions, yet the moment she left Iran and married a non-Muslim, she'd sealed her fate. She couldn't go back. Mary had nobody else in this world, and that's what made telling her about this prognosis so difficult. She also wasn't the type of person to let her emotions out freely, yet now she trembled in Levi's arms. His throat thickened with regret. He could only imagine the fear she had going through her head. "I'll make sure that you never have to worry about anything for the rest of your life," he said. "This will always be your home, no matter what happens. Do you understand me?"
"I don't need things. I don't need Levi Yoder, the businessman. I need my husband."
Mary fiercely grabbed both of Levi's wrists and stared at him with bloodshot eyes.
"I love you."
He'd only heard her say that a handful of times. Each time had been a euphoric experience. Yet this time it pained him to hear it. He'd helped hundreds of people in the past. But this time, when it mattered most, when the person who needed help was the one person he cared for more than anyone in the world, he couldn't help. He couldn't fix this. "I'll stay with you as long as I possibly can. That much I promise you." He wiped the tears from Mary's cheeks with his thumbs. "I love you more than you'll ever know." She grabbed Levi tightly around his chest, and they held each other in silence, knowing that no words would fix what they were going through. Yusuf Nassar's skin prickled with anxiety as he watched the laborers empty the ancient burial chamber of an early Egyptian priest. It had been only 2 days since Yusuf had discovered the long-forgotten chamber, and already it was nearly empty. Thieves. These men were all thieves, and knowing that he was in some way enabling this, the guilt gnawed at Yusuf's stomach. Trying to ignore the men who were stealing irreplaceable artifacts, he turned back to the wall with the faded hieroglyphs and continued transcribing them into his notebook, with his mind focused on the task, the world and its goal.